Peace and love if anyone arrives or is listening to this broadcast later. I'm just, I still didn't clean my computer, but I am going to just talk a little bit, see if I can get anyone who might want to join me on the panel. As an amateur genealogist, meaning that I don't work. This is not something I do because I'm trying to make a living. It's something that I'm doing because, I don't want to do that. Why did it go there? Let me see. I just, this is just something that I love to do. And, it's just easy for me to want to do this. Oh, but before I was doing this, like, I always had questions. And this is my aunt, Dorothy, my father's sister, and this is her first cousin, who we found because of DNA. And I just get, I guess disgusted. I guess disgusted might be a real good term to use when I hear people downplay the benefits that you can get using DNA as a tool. Um, but my title, because I'm going to be over here doing what I do, because this is what I do. That's the way it's going to be. If I have to do it all by myself, that's what it will be. And that's not a problem. But I'm still going to be doing my giving and sharing as much as I think is reasonable, because I think I've shared a lot more than what is reasonable, honestly, because there are privacy issues that go along with the study of your own personal DNA and others. But to the title, who's African American? I just wish I could get someone to join me at some point, not to be badgered, but to have a reasonable dialogue, reasonable conversation about how that is. A conversation where we talk intelligently, where it's reasonable to allow children to listen to, so they don't go back into an environment that most of our people who most often consider themselves African American, send their children into. So that would be school, an organization where our children, for the most part, go and end up at, where saying words of profanity, so it's called, will get them in some trouble, likely. So if I can't have a conversation that I think is really important for children to be able to hear without using words that they can not repeat, then I already am forfeiting the major goal. That is not to take away from people who need to express themselves in ways that are not appropriate for children to hear, so they don't go back and repeat it that way. Let me try to say that again. That is not to judge or in any way say that I don't understand or disagree with people who do need to communicate that way, in the way that we don't want to teach our children to communicate, because we don't want them to go back and take that same use of language into an environment where they are then punished or treated in some type of way for punishment. That should do it. Uh, but somebody need to be saying it. Those same communications, those same issues need to be discussed in a way that the children can hear. That's what I'm saying. And so it is still my endeavor to have these discussions, or, you know, manage an environment where genealogy, true historical events can be examined or re examined and brought to a public forum in the form of debate without compromising the information in a way that makes it deemed unuseful because of deflections and insults and injuries. This is my Aunt Dorothy, and this is her first cousin. Right, see, my uncle, my grandmother, my paternal grandmother's brother, he had two daughters, and they were not children that he had with his wife. His wife was unable to have children. And so, although they may have had some idea of them, or one of them at least, growing up, um, they didn't know them. However, when my children, my sons, went to high school, they had a really good friend who they seemed to have been extremely attached to, as if they were of blood relation. I'll put it like that. Well, because I have my father's DNA file, I ran across this DNA match. See, that's my dad. This is the sister of YC. This is the sister. And this is my son's best friend from their high school age. Well, when I saw his picture, which I won't bring up because that's more of an issue of privacy, um, that's when I knew that they were cousins. If he had no picture there, I might not have even realized that that was the same person. At any rate, they have the same grandmother, because YC here is her father's mother, who I am trying to find her mother and father. Now I see them in 1910, and I've said this, I'm pretty sure, many times, this story. Okay, so here we go. This is my maternal line. This is my paternal line. You know, I don't like when people say I said this many times. Why do I have so many lines right there? So let's go. Dad, dad's mother. So this is my paternal, and this is my grandma Gladys. This is her father and her mother. And this right here is our common ancestor. See, this is her. And I need to put pictures up, but this is Gladys, okay? And this is my uncle. His wife, she couldn't have no children. See, she couldn't have any children. This is a son that he had with Willie Liberty here, James Liberty. He did not have children with Mary. And this is the children he had here. Okay. They did not have his last name. But I have found relationship. I don't because why? Sarah's only children were with him, so why would I have two Sarahs? So these are places where we need to do things like clean up our tree. This is when people say they need to clean up their tree. She did marry Isaac, but she didn't have children with him. As you can see, this line is coming from him alone. Her children were with Lucius. Okay, but why do I have two times Sarah? But if I go to her, I won't see two. At any rate, the earliest I can find Sarah is 1910. And yeah, I got to do genealogy on Ancestry and the other databases until I'm more free and able to do more running. But I did think I found a 1920 for her though. But as you see, there is only one Sarah and one Brian. So I don't know how I'm going to clean that up. I don't know how. Now, so now it must just be that point of view or something because I don't see another um, picture of Brian here. It's just probably attached to Gussie here, his second wife. This is who I'm looking for right now. You know, you got to kind of stay focused. It's not the only grandparent or great grandparent that I'm looking for, but here's Sarah. I understand now why. It's because Sarah is attached to Isaac here, if you look at it from that point of view. Um, so let's see here. I thought I found her in 1920, and I do try to find as many of the relatives that I can. I try to find them. Let's see, maybe if I find Dora, her sister Dora, maybe if I find her in 1920. I thought that I did, but maybe I didn't. Okay, so Brian, I must not have you either then. Really, nobody. They should be in the same environment. See if I got company. I know people are so used to probably hearing me talk to myself that I might not get company as often, but I have to definitely do my best to keep talking. There's so many things that I don't say. There's so many ways that I feel that I don't talk about because of the emotions that go along with it. And the fact is that keeping my composure is really important if I want to do what I said I want to do. And I need to be focused to do that. So I'm isolating 1920 because I have one 1920, but there should be more. Not to say Ruby Sutton is a popular name, but we're going to go back to. I didn't mean to change the birth year slider. I want to keep that further this way, but I do want to stay in Mississippi because in the 20s they should be still in Mississippi. Okay, so what I'll do is I have to go back and look at 1910, and then I have to look at 1930. So 1910, Ruby is 3. In the house, there's, okay. So where's Gussie? What happened to you? She was only 28, 1930. So they're in equipment in 1910. Are they in Tallahatchie by 1930? Hmm. So let's see who's with them, who's around them in 1930. Lindsay Davis. I'm just looking at the names. So Bryant, Gussie, Bessie, 13. So the only people in this house, I don't remember twins. Bessie and Mary are the same age. That don't mean they are twins, but oh wow, I didn't even realize this. It says that Bryant was born in Mississippi. Well, he was not. He was not born in Mississippi. He was born in North Carolina across the board. He and his parents. And in 1910, that was clear. So people who would have been born in 1920 that's here in this household are going to be Mary and Bessie, who should have been, oh, they would, right, we 20 years. This is like a 20-year gap. So maybe there were twins that I don't remember anything about. But I'm looking to see who would have been in the house 10 years ago, which would have been Mary, Bessie, Les, and Lucinda. Okay, let's see. So I am related to the Jackson family in that same environment. I know this says tenor, but I can't help but wonder if it is supposed to be thinner. So I'm just doing a page up and a page back. So I heard someone speaking, and I guess like the people who do genealogy and terms of just, kind of really um, spend most of their time, like I do, on the end of genealogy. That's what I do. That's what I do. I spend more time working on this in this area of study. Um, but I listen a lot to the historical um, point of view of uh, more current how do you put that? More current views of ancient history, let's say like that. I'm very interested in that, and I try to divide out time for that. Herod, hmm, which could have ended up being Harold Matthews McCool Ellison Hardy's. Okay, now I'm gonna go 2 pages behind the page that I found them on. But before I do that, let me just see if there's anything over here. Farm. Mm, but I heard someone in that environment say to the people who were doing, I guess, who were pushing genealogy and all this talk about history. Dang, I hate when I do that. All this talk about history. I don't know what they were saying because I wasn't looking at the chat and I wasn't there live on the live, but they must have been kind of harassing him or something. I don't know. And so let's see. Hollister Mitchell Adams. And I heard him say, the host of that show's telling them, hey, if you, if you, are doing genealogy, that's your end of, the spectrum basically, and that's what you're gonna, that's where you want to spend your time, and you have a problem with what I'm doing over here with this history, uh, go over there and get on ancestry.com and, sort of like that, and somebody might take that in an offensive way. And I agree. If you don't, if you're not gelling with people who are doing, the history and looking at the world history, uh, from a world history perspective, or just, even an American history perspective, then, stop badgering people. Stop going in places and just do what you do. It's a place in what has to happen with our environment, with our children who are going to be left in this world together. Um, if things go in any natural order and have to deal with each other, it have to be enough room for people to be, being in different areas of studies and, and then bringing it all together. People shouldn't be badgering each other and going into one environment and saying y'all need to be doing this, and then the others in their environment saying and y'all need to be doing this. It need to be a balance. How hard is it? I mean, literally, it just floors me at how difficult it is for us to just, you know, get along. It just should not be that hard. Just being respectful and capable of some more Suttons. Okay, Norman Sutton. Um, I shouldn't always be so discouraged when I see a W for white. I really shouldn't. It's still, it's still there and it's still information. So, as far as I could tell, it looks like they migrated to an environment in Tallahatchie, leaving behind Did this ask you anything about the 5 years where you were 5 years before? It does not. I just wish they had been more consistent with these. Like, I don't have no idea how long they've been in Tallahatchie. If she was married at the age of 15, she has been married for 30 years. If he was married at the age of 18, then he has been married. Let's up that to 20 right quick. He's been married 42 years, if it was a. So he's been married about 40 years. Am I right with that math? Meaning he's been married 10 years longer than she's been married. Now I told my cousin he was married once before he married Gussie. Instead of her giving it the benefit of the doubt, she says, la lie. He was not married before. If he was married before, this says this, and I have a document, and I'm like, okay, never mind. Then, I'm going to keep looking for my grandmother. I'm not finna stop looking for my grandmother because you are telling me it's a lie. When in 1910, well, those census reports, oh, they wrong all the time, all of those different things. But your DNA, the bad word, is telling you. She has a test. She took a test. Your DNA is telling you that they came from North Carolina. Oh no, I know that he came from North Carolina, but okay, so here they are in 1910. In 1910, as you can see, Bryant and Gussie, okay, none of these children are with them at where they are. None of them. They almost gave her. Oh no, that is. Okay, so none of these Willie, Ruby, Beatrice, Charity, Dora, all of which I know about. I believe they all came to Chicago. Anyway, it says here M2. Now they've been married. Maybe these two have been married for right. She's 28. She said she was married since the age of 15. That's about right. I guess it's because it says children born 7. How many live in 4? I don't know. Because this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. This is 5 right here. The cousin I'm talking about, Dora, is her grandmother. It says here that her father's birthplace is North Carolina. Her mother's birthplace is North Carolina. So for the same for Charity. So for the same for Beatrice. Then this one here, these two are here. Ruby and Willie, they say their mother came from Mississippi. Well, Gussie is from Mississippi. See? Her parents, according to this anyway. I know it could be errors. Bryant, he says he's from North Carolina, straight across. Yeah, they're gonna be errors. But you have to at least take some of the stuff into consideration when you're looking for your people. Okay. And if you can't get out and go looking for your people and you don't think you can, you want to limit yourself to whatever paperwork or whatever documentation you can get and do it without any kind of help like DNA. So good for you. But I won't help. I won't. I will only help people if they're gonna have DNA as a tool. I can't not. I cannot. I don't have even the time. I'll help. I shouldn't say that. That's wrong. I will help people if they want help. If somebody just think that I'm a little faster at finding something and they need a little um, push or something like that, that I won't limit myself that way. But I'm just telling you, this is my biggest tool. This is what helps me to make connections. Anyway, we on the same page. I'm looking up here because there's a Jackson. Those are my Jacksons. This is my grandfather, Lucius. This is my great grandfather, Lucius. And this is Sarah. Okay, see, look at Sarah is saying she was born in North Carolina. Her mother and father are born in North Carolina. Okay, these are my. This is my grandmother Gladys. That you see. Adi, I believe, is probably Uncle Cleo. I don't know. I don't know if that. I don't know what this Adi is. We never heard of an Adi, unless that's a C. I don't know. Maybe it is supposed to be. Look like a O. Right. Like this is O. That's a O. I don't know. Anyway, we don't know about this. There being another son. Okay, so son, nephew. I don't know if that was what they were trying to say here. But because they are brother-in-law and sister-in-law in this house, it was not easy to find them. But anyway, my cousin Dora is her grandmother. She's a lot older than me. She's older than my father. She's older than my aunt. And she's stuck in her way. She's stuck not realizing that her grandmother said that, according to this census report anyway, that her mother was born in North Carolina. And so she is not helping me. That's why I'm mad. That's right, mad, M-A-D, and angry, for people who need to hear it that way. So I don't see any of these people around them. No, none. So who can I find in 1920? Who do I have in 1920? Do I have Lucius for 1920? I don't think so. Do I have Gus Jackson? I don't know if I have anybody on here in 1920. Yeah, you got to be careful what you say. You got to pay attention to what you committed to, what you're going in for. No, I don't seem to have a Gus either. See over here? Oh, I probably should have made that clear. But anyway, so here it is in 19. So I know I have him. Suggested records also show up now, and didn't used to be that way. I'll go back. Suggested records do show up now if you open up. So if you're viewing the actual census, looking at the actual census, and then you go down to the bottom here and you select here self. What? I must think I'm on here. You select here the people profile icon and open up and see the actual way that the transcriber is spelling. Then you go to the actual name of the person, any of these people, like Ed Frierson, um, just his last name, Willie Taylor. I don't know. Uh, Anyway, let me do it like this. Sarah Carver. Okay. See how I just you press maybe the first. Maybe it has to be the first name. Let's go with Nash Obi Nash. No records. See how it says no record has been selected, or there no suggested records related on the right hand side of here. Okay, but if it were, I just cannot believe. Let's try Minerva. What? Let's try Bryant. See? Okay, so you see, these are the records that come up as related right over here. All 6 suggested records. Okay, so that shows up there now. So now, Gus, that's what I meant when I said here. So I'm gonna go to this source just so I could get to him in my tree. That's what I was doing, going to his source, because I know up here is gonna pop up Gus, because I wanted to see if I have a 1920 for him, because I'm following people around trying to figure out where are people in 1920. Dang, Mozart, we'll go outside soon. Okay, so now 1920, Lamar, Mississippi. This could be. Let's see. A lot of the work I did there was work that I had have done in the beginning of my searches, and I have to go back and so so after a little bit of this, then I'm just going to isolate that in particular environment, equipment, and see who is still in equipment in 1920, because it should be 1920 census in equipment. So that's where I go next. Wait, let's see what's this one. You just cool out, okay? I'm coming. It's not that serious. Because okay, so anyway, so now since it's like that, I'm actually going to go back to 1910 there in beat for Equipment, Mississippi. I'm going to view the image. There in like the latter end, it's like 49 pages. So I'm going to first I'm just gonna go a page up, see who's on this page. Just like a quick search. Always looking for North Carolina straight across. Seeing like who all came into this area from North Carolina, and like when did they get there. I know that my great grandfather, Brian Sutton, must have gotten there 14 years ago, because Gussie is supposed to be, that's supposed to be her first marriage. Okay, so the Cannons. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go right here to the people profile, pick, and I'm just going to go up to here and see if I can get, look, so here's 1920. This is exactly what I hoped had happened. I'm in 1920. They are, what? They went all the way to Arkansas? I'm gonna view it. Let's see if I got company. Oh, peace and love, Grand Rising. Oh, I hope you all are still here. Peace and love, y'all. I'm well, Kizzy Renee, and Queen, Kween, which I was just explaining to my granddaughter yesterday about the letter Q and how it sounds, and other letters you could put together to make that sound. So, peace and love, y'all. I'm just rattling on. I'm looking for people, and the first people I can find in 1920 that were in equipment in 1910 went to birthplace ton. Oh wow. I don't remember ever seeing a census that said that. So for that to be the case, the page either all of the lines are much smaller, which it appears that occupation, industry, income, farm schedule, time. Hmm. Now that's pretty interesting. I would like to see something say other than English. 24 pages that. Yeah, these are looking like the same, like so many columns. Okay, except that this is not filled in here. I'm just hoping that maybe I can find something that says other than English. I would love to just do a study or speak with someone. I can't. You can't do it all. Like that's what I'm saying. Like when I'm talking about people and people being respectful of each other's craft. What thing are you good at doing, and just being respectful of that and seeing. If you don't see nothing in it that you can use, then get away from it. Stop badgering people. Yeah. So look like English it is. I just really needed to write English all the way. I don't think I've ever saw that before. So this is the way that I guess they were doing enumeration in Arkansas. I'm not in Arkansas that much. Okay, so now I need to go back out of this. So the first 1920 that I see is something upstairs. Did somebody fall out the bed? What the? I don't hear no baby crying. I guess it's okay. Andrew and Julia and Miranda. What tools? I don't know. Maybe where I left off here, I was still trying to figure some stuff out. I don't really know. But let's see, Osceola. Oh, now I'm hearing noise. I guess it's okay. All right. So Osceola, which is very likely, this is something I must have been working on. I do remember seeing Whitfield's on there. This could be. And there's Orange. Married. This feels. I mean, they have the right names. Tempe, Jackson, and Orange. They just as baffled as I am about what that household was like because they they haven't. I see how they have it open. Let's see. Yeah, this was a hard household to figure, but because they have Osceola, okay, we time to go let Mozart out. Okay, Noxubee. They could have went to Noxubee. Let's see. Do I have this record for Osceola? Mm, I do. It's just I don't want to get caught up over in this environment. That's the only thing. So the real big deal is that Orange. So Mac and Mary are my great great grandparents. She's a Jackson. Mary is a Jackson. This is true. This is them in the same place, but in 1900, before Sarah. See, here's Lucius. This is my great grandfather, and he's with his mother Mary. But Orange is a daughter, right? So Orange would have been a McCarver who married who, though? Who did she marry to become a Jackson? Gus is what I thought. Do I have her marrying Gus? That's the other thing. You have to always keep kind of remembering come back and see if people came along and added information, because people migrated in all these different directions, and other people, they have those, facts, the historical facts of what happened, um, and can build into their tree, and you can verify, it'll make sense. Okay. Right, because Gus Jackson is the son-in-law. Okay, so that makes sense. And this makes sense that it would be their child. Let's do this. So I'm pretty sure that I do have Orange as a sister, which means she would be my biological aunt. Okay, so let's see what they say about Gus in 1940. Oh, all the way. Oh, in Coahoma. Okay. Coahoma by himself. It could be in Coahoma. No related sources. So, that's strange. So who is he? Is he around anyone? Coahoma or Kahoma? They do. My family do. They do talk about Kahoma. Um, just looking for last names that starts saying he was birthplace was Virginia. My Gus's birthplace was not Virginia that I know of. It's Mississippi. So now what I'm doing is Quitman. Oops, Quitman, Mississippi. I'm just going to do 1899, and I'm going to do a search. This is B2 for Roxy Edwards, because those families are somewhere. Now, everybody didn't disperse and go in 100,000 different directions. So now I'm in Quitman, 32 pages. Changing this to page 32. Go. Thanks to a dear. Okay, so once I get to 32, I went there. I would think that the film strip would be there, but it don't look like it. So now I'm in beat 3, and I'm trying to get to beat 4. But, I could just start off in beat 3, just kind of glancing. I was curious about the handwriting. Um, it's only 14 pages. Usually, if you double click, it'll go to the page. If you double click down here, so here's beat 3 some more. Page 1 is at least 7. See, I just touched it. Maybe it's because I double clicked. It's 35 pages. So 35. Go. Okay, here's B4. 54 pages. There's the name Vance, okay? You see here? This name Vance right here. So the, they the people who came to Chicago from North Carolina. I mean from Mississippi. The people who came to North Carolina, to Chicago from Mississippi, although they use Coahoma and equipment, they mostly say Vance. They mostly say, yeah, we came from Vance. Oh, well, look at here for Earl Q. Vance. And oh, is it because I have his name here? Really? You see that at the top? I didn't know that happens. Is you highlight the name here. If I highlight the top name, which is somebody King, it changes here. Now that I did not know. Now either that's new or I'm slipping. But anyway, okay, Mama, I'm coming. Um. Anyway, I was gonna say they always say, yeah, they came from Vance, and I was like, Vance. I really never really heard it put quite like that. But I realized what they were saying, and see, this person's last name is Vance. Well, it's some politicians that were in Vance, North Carolina, which is the same environment that the DNA leads to. Vance, the community called Vance, although that is not and see, here we go, nativity and mother tongue again. I hadn't seen that. Oh, maybe that's what 1920 looks like in these circles. Mississippi Equipment B4. Okay, so now, you know what I'm going to do? Mozart, I'm coming. Just give me a minute. I'm going to go to equipment. Please, I mean, he have been out. Beat 4. That's not what I saw. Equipment beat 4. Hey, you know what? I don't know why I gotta be this cold, but whatever. Okay, can I get a wash in 19? Oh, I mean, this is wash in 1920. No other records selected. Because the only way I could get to him, like pull him up in as a savable source, is if something related comes down over here. It's the only way. That's the only way I know of. Let me go deeper in. He's been outside. He's been fed. He's been petted. Talked to. All of those things. Okay, so now let's see if we could get Eva to come up. Nobody get related sources, huh? Here we go. So we got a related source. That's the only way I could get to her. I can't, if I click on her name over there, that's the only thing I'm gonna get is related. I can't get the source of 1920 for some reason, unless it's something new going on. All right, now I could get to it right here. But at any rate, what I wanted to do that for is because I forgot. I wanted to get to the person. Why? Dang, I had a good thought going. I think it's because I wanted to see what does it say here. Beat for equipment, Mississippi. Maybe I have to put beat for first. Okay, let's see. Hmm. Yeah, and I have helped people find the family they belong to who may have been adopted or whatever, have some detachment for family. So that's if that don't seem like an important task, I don't know what to say. If people finding out who they are only come from people that they knew and people who had the disadvantage of not knowing, just get thrown to the curbside. I don't know what kind of people you are who feel that way and feel that we can never get anywhere as a community if we leaving so many people behind in terms of holistic help. So I think I have to put beat for Quitman. Now let me try Sutton. Let's get it. Come on, let's get it. Let's get it. Come on, let's get it. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's try. Go break it down to the census. Oh, I think I did just find my auntie, Dora. I'm gonna go back if I have to. Mm, Roxana, Rosa, Will, John, Mahalia. I, all of the girls was married and that left the men, which were HP, Jerome. I don't know. Let's try John. First, let's try the one that's right here. A niece. Um, a nephew. Black family. It's 13. So where she should have been 3 years old in 1910. So where was she in 1910? Roxana, where were you in 1910? Ed, where were you in 1910? These are blocks. These are roadblocks. All I'm trying to do is find people in 1920. Mary Guam, where were you? Mary Gown, Garin, where were you in 1910? No suggested records come up for these people, boy. So in 1920, Quitman, Mississippi is just totally a different place. Nobody is around that was around, huh? Where the heck is everybody? All right. Wow. Last name Sutton. might have lived before Quitman, Mississippi. Unmatched. Other places they may have lived. No, 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 that's not the question. Oh, yeah, other places they may have lived. Okay, let's go with North Carolina. Other places. So I can't have two places. So the place your ancestor might have lived here has to be here. It can't. So what if I go 1900? That's crazy. Okay, birth year 1865. Okay, so the birth year got to be the same. Birth year, all right. The first thing, then it should say place your ancestor. I don't know, that irritated me. I'm just being irritated. I just guess I'm being irritated. I just guess I'm just aggravated. Beat 4 in 1910 that he was in beat 4. So this is specifically looking for Brian Quitman. Yeah, this kind of stuff here. Ain't that a Leon and Cheney? William and Eliza. Right. Brian and Gussie. They're the only ones in Quitman, according to this. So now, this is when I'm going to isolate out 1920 and see what I could get. Oh, well, here's a Sally, but she shouldn't be a Sutton because she married the Atkins after she married the McCarver. No, that's not mine. So this is like really, really puzzling to me. I don't know if I could do this live. Anybody here? So I think somebody might be watching. Um, if that one that I do see at least one person watching. If you're interested, can you, well, sometimes I get it. People want to just stay private, and that's fine with me. But I guess I'll keep going. As long as someone is hearing me, I think I should keep going because this gets tedious and I be going there. Okay. So now I am on to that. I am going to find someone who was in Quitman in 1910, in Quitman in Quitman in 1910, and before Quitman 1910 in 1920. Now I found one family, but they moved all the way to Arkansas. So why? What could have happened in 19 between 1910 and 1920 that that I shouldn't be able to find one person. Now I haven't tried long enough, first of all. But this is the 1920 census. This is the 1910 census where the only Sutton appears to be my grandfather, right? So let's see. I shouldn't even say that because I would have to isolate it. So let's see. The way to isolate it to see are there any other Suttons in Quitman before is to excuse me is to push this bar to the more exact. So here where it says broad to exact right there and update. So it was a Sealy, but was she born in North Carolina? I need the ones born in North Carolina. Like that's real important. And you can't push that bar. There's no bar to push. But I really need people who were born in North Carolina. Sweat. I need. So he is the only person, according to this, because there's only one page of people who with the last name of Sutton. Let's back it up. Let's maybe have some other variations. Broaden up that. Sutton, Sitten, Sut, Sug. I don't know. So they go all the way to Stone and all of that. And still. So it appears that he is the only Sutton in Quitman, Mississippi in 1910. I got the 1920 open just in case. I just want to go back there. So what I'm doing is going to view it. And I'm going to look at one of my aunties. Okay. So I'm going right in here and I'm going to see. So I know what happened with Dora. I know she ended up in Chicago, but not yet. So where was Dora in 1920? Where was Charity in 1920? And where was Beatrice in 1920? Where were they in 1930? So here's a Beatrice. And I do believe this is Beatrice. I might have even saved this source. But okay, there's Beatrice. I believe this is Beatrice. Let's see if I saved it. Yeah, I believe this is Beatrice, that she married a Wiley. Okay, so here we go. So Beatrice should be not far from, I'm going to view the image. So I kept 1920 open to see how close these Suttons are to uh, one of the female Suttons or something like that, right? So she's on page 20 of 54, and this person is on page 32 of 54. So between 20 and 32, I figured, should probably be some family. Now, I don't know if this is the same Suttons, but it stands to reason that if Brian Sutton is the only Sutton in the environment in 1910, that 10 years later, perhaps that is some of his offspring. It's reasonable to me. Okay. When I say some of his offspring, I mean his son's children. Maybe some of them are his son's children. Because in 1910, let's just open this up. We had sons that might have been able to father children or have children by, I don't think so though. Okay, so this is Beatrice. She only 17. Girl, where's your daddy? Where's your father at? So everybody is born in Mississippi at this time. So Beatrice's mother was born in 1920. So where's Charity? Where's all of them? All of them are just MIA. Okay, so here's some Jacksons. Frank Carity, there's another Beatrice. Carrie. Beatrice could be named after her sister, Carrie. Charity. I don't know if they would call it Charity. Carrie, Charity. So the other sister. So now this means another tab. Because why? So I know that's I can get back there easy going through Beatrice because Beatrice did marry a Wiley. Okay, so here's Wiley. She married Ovi. Um, yeah, I, they knew this. They knew my father knew Ovi. Um, Ovi, where are your parents? Where were you in 1910? Hopefully, these are some of his descendants. Clifford, okay. Beatrice. So, you never know. I'm always looking to, maybe somebody else have discovered them in 1920 because Beatrice has sisters and brothers. Do they got that? They don't. Maybe they do. Charity. Mm-mm. So they not concerned with Beatrice family. They concerned with their family. They not trying to build an environment. That's why I like trying to build the environment. You already there. It's your environment. It's where your people are. It's likely that you will have other relatives in that environment. So eventually, I will add, if with justification and proper. Ruby, she has. She has. This person does have some other information there, but I think it might be information that I have. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. So under her siblings, she has Les twice. She has Lucille Burton, which there was a Lucinda. She was not. Could this be? Let's see. I don't know about all that because this is This is them in 1930. She would have only been 1 years old in 1920. Jerome would not even have been born. Less. When I get like this, like I'm not gonna stop until I figure out something like literally what happened. Les, did you really go to Tennessee and marry? Look at the record. Did I say I hate when I get like this? I don't really mean that. I mean, so irritating having to. They just don't even have a place for the father and the mother name. Is that what I see? I don't know. I don't know if that's him. There's no way to know. But I don't know. This could be, I guess, but let's see. Here's a draft card. I mean, I have cousins that are here that I can go and talk to because I thought we did talk about Les recently. But I don't know. I did attach this to him. I'm trying to find him. It's not with Les. Okay, can't be with none of these. So it gotta either be with Les or Mary or Bessie. Now she had Elizabeth. Um, so let's see why did she have Elizabeth? Maybe she knows something I don't know. Maybe that is them, you know. It's no way I can just take that. Margaret McRae. Hmm. Have I seen this before? Mm-mm. I don't have the DNA file for my father's first cousin, which, as a matter of fact, when we found out that my son's best friend, both of them were best friends with him, as a matter of fact. When they once we found out that that was who they were very all were very happy. They were very thankful that they had gotten to know my sons and spent time, and they were family with them, and it was very exciting. And then within months, within maybe 2 or 3 months, um, the one that my father did spend time with, because it was thought to be, they weren't doing DNA tests back then, but my uncle, my great uncle, my great great uncle rather, he thought it could be, but that would be my great uncle. He thought it would that was his daughter, so he did spend time with her. And she was around for the time that she did live in Chicago. Um, so she, but she died like within months. She said she just always wanted to know for sure. So I don't know if she was sick and she just wanted some closure about who she really was. So I'm very thankful for DNA for that reason for sure. Okay, so here we have a Mary McCrae. She is saving this Elizabeth, who's, let's see, do I have this record? Vance, Tallahatchie, Mississippi. See how Vance go along with them? Where they moving around to? I might have it. This record. I think I should. Yeah, I do have it. So by 1930, this is not her because she's in home with her parents as Betty. See, you got to watch every record. You just don't take these records. Like, I don't believe. Oh, she was Lizzie. I thought she was Betty. Oh, that's Bessie, is another person. That's Lizzie. Oh, I was hoping this was Lizzie. Okay, cool. All right. So do I have? Yes, I do have Slash Jones and Bessie. Or who is Bessie then? Bessie and Mary. You gotta ask them about twins. Bessie might have been married already by 1920 because she's already 13. Such a small window of opportunity. I think this is when it's time to like sing a song. So Lucy, I do have as a Burton, Saginaw, Michigan. If she was born in 1919, she should have been on the 2020 census. Who? Oh, this is supposed to be Bryant. Okay. See if it's a finder grade. Dead end. No information on her finder grade. But she died in 88. And she died in Michigan. Saginaw, Michigan. Home in 1940. So, like I said, they do talk about Coahoma. They don't say Coahoma like me. They say Coahoma. All right. So I need to see if anybody is saving them. She wasn't no Burton in 1920, you fools. She was born a Sutton. How she gonna be a Burton in 1920? Why would they offer that? Why would Ancestry offer me that? Lattimore. So this is Lattimore. Let's see. She doesn't have the 1930 census. I'm surprised. She's in St. Louis. Yeah, I've seen her, but I don't think she did. I don't think it's a DNA match. Maybe. No, I don't think she did. No. Let's see. No. Let me see. Maybe you have a bio. Maybe it'll say a little something. Okay. So we know that Lucille died. Anyway, it's a few more names. So I would like to make sure that I have Abbott, Josh, Abbott Lee, Josh Burton. Do I have you? So to get Abbott Liam, make sure I have him. I do believe this is true. I would have to go to Lucille, grab a source so that I could get to her in my own tree. View record, which will give me an option to select her here. Do I have? No, see, I don't even have it. So the strangest thing is Abbott Lee Thompson. I think it was. I forget which sister this is. This is Lucinda. I'm not keeping it like that anyway. Just This is when you can't stop. You have to keep working till you get through this. So you're gonna just create a mess. You got to clean that up. So now I go back and I have somewhere to save that man to Josh, the father. So he was born in 55, but somehow he got the name Burton. I'll go back and fix this. So here's my fix. Save someone in my tree. I'm going back to the tree to see what source do they have in this tree for Abbott's father. What source do they have for him? If he was born in 55, it's unlikely that I can have a source that is going to link him. But I will give him this. I still already have question marks that I will. I thought it was Thompson, but it's Thomas. Looking for linking source. I'm not even gonna say that. I'm gonna just put C. Um, grave. What do they call that? See that grave. See, grave finder is it called? Grave find for son Abbott, Josh. Say, cause see, this is when you get into. That's what somebody else said. This is when you get into creating, a situation that you don't know nothing about. I'm not linking to him to that. I just got the information there. It's just if I could get some more clarity on that, then I'll go and I will fix that. I'm not trying to offend people, family. There's how many people in that family? How many people in this family say that? Because that's just one person that's saying that. I don't have no real proof of that other than it's on the find a grave. Find a grave. That's what I read. But find a grave is who put together find a grave. Find a grave is not no. You can't. It's good, And if you get somebody that have an obituary attached, but you still, it's not. None of it is factual. You just do the best you can, but I'm not going to do that. Um, okay, so you know what? I'm not gonna ignore those hints for her. Nothing to say where she was born. Pearl Ellen? She wasn't born till 1929. So where was she in 1930? She must have been pregnant with her in 1930. Maybe that's what happened. Do I got any company? Peace and love if anybody is out there. Peace and love. I see some people watching. Cherokee. Peace and love. Great rising. I'm on this bin trying to figure this out. Trying to figure out where these people are. Where are my family in 1920? Which don't have a whole lot to do with that. I'm trying to get further back because I'm trying to make some other connections. But um, if I could figure out maybe even who her parents are, I could find them. Les, Mary, Bessie. What happened to them? Where's Mr. Burton's family? She's something I have says she said she was born in Arkansas, Mississippi, and in 1930 they're in Tallahatchie. They're not around nobody. But I was looking at what happened to other people in 1910. Where are the other people that was in equipment in 1910? So going through view image, I'm going to try this again. We already got one daughter we that we did find. Oh, here's a Ollie Bell. This is 1920. Okay, Ollie Bell. I do have a cousin, Ollie Bell, which is the daughter of Lily. Could that be Lily? Could Lily be with her? Oh, there's a Charity. Oh, and Charity did marry a Meeks. Hmm. That I might have just found another one. Stepdaughter though. Unless Charity. Okay, this 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 might be her, but I don't really want to think that is her. Mostly because let's see. Let's just go with this. Albert Meeks, Michigan marriage. 1910. Albert Meeks, were you in Quitman before? No. And he was already with a Charity. No. So let's go to my Charity, who I understand did marry a Meeks. So let's see. How do we get to my Charity? We go to her father. Select the source. Go find Charity. Oh, it's Weeks, not Meeks. Weeks. Okay. So if she was born in 99, she should have already married the Weeks. Because Jesse Weeks, which I knew personally growing up as a child, he was born in 1920. He was born in Vance. And Gusto, let's see, maybe we can find him. Maybe if we can find Gusto. I mean, nobody has a 1920 source in this environment. No, he wasn't white. I could tell you that. Okay. Gustav? No, he wasn't in no New York. I mean, although it was one of the girls was Beatrice, his one was not. She would have been Charity. So he in 1910 he was also in Quitman. So where was his parents at in 1920? So you just can't find nobody in 1920. That is just ridiculous. I just can't even believe. LaFleur, I feel like I'm shaking some dice. LaFleur, come on, LaFleur. Is this you? Could this be you? John Weeks, 1910. No, see, no, that right. See, because when you pull up a source, it'll pull up other suggested sources. So this is not him because this John Weeks was married to Susie already in 1920. I mean, you could keep twerking it to see if but that's not him. So I'm gonna do a census and isolate to the 1920. Unbelievable. This is unbelievable to me. That everybody that I can find in 1910 is not anywhere to be found in 1920. Could they have been? Could they go to? They maybe no. I mean, this could be. Let's see. So this is another one. No, this is one born in 1862. So it's two. This one and this one. Oh, so one is born in 1960 and one is born in 1962. So this is when it's important, and it's always important to work with a pad and pen. I'm always trying to work by memory, and that's really bad. Really bad. You always should have a paper and pen nearby because then I don't have to go back to 1910 just to see who was his wife. Lucinda. I don't think so. But they did have a daughter, Lucinda. Yes, Gustav, Amory, Irene, Rad. What? Vandy. Irene Reed. Any suggested records for her? No. What about Lucinda? No suggested records for Lucinda. Nothing. Coming up dust, boy, I swear. All the way over here just because I'm trying to find 1920 for this for this environment, for all of the people in this environment. So Amory is probably Emory. This is probably correct. Let's see what we got here. See what I'm saying? Vance Street. Do I save this one already? Yeah, already saved. I probably have exhausted this already before. What about Vandy? Vandy is a pretty unique name. Vandy, a son named Vandy. That's a unique name. Where are you in 10 years? No, no, he just nothing. Just nothing. Jesse ended up in Chicago eventually. Unbelievable. No suggested records. And if don't nobody like other people, okay, they got some hints. If no other people start saving these people, I'm the only person saving Vandy Weeks. Please don't tell me I'm the only person saving Vandy Weeks. Please, please, somebody in Vandy Weeks' family be looking for him. Vanny, Vanny, 1930 and 1940. Where is he at in 1920? So in 1910, we know that he's in. I think I have spoken with this person before. Lucinda Sally. Okay, Sally. Carlos. I think Carlos saves the carvers. A lot of carvers. I'm not sure, but how is he interested is helps to know by looking at how he views these people in his tree. His interest might be the mother of John. So we can't find these people in 1920. Oh, Augustus instead of Gustav or Gusto. Augusta. Okay, I don't think I have this record. And I think it's the, I don't think this is the one that tells you. It might be. One of these tells you a lot of times where a person was born. Why they need to know if they were natural born, and I don't know what that means. Somebody help me out if you know what that means. Yeah, it just tell you the home address. Oh, where were you born? Taylor. Taylor, Mississippi. Okay. Ben Taylor is his employer. So he was born in Taylor, Mississippi. So whenever I see that, I really do try to go back and I just put Augustus because I know that's a typical name. You know, this is phonetics. That's like the hooked on phonics type thing right there. And I'm going to put in here Taylor, Mississippi. I don't know if it's Lafayette, but whatever. Let me put that. I try to put that in whenever I can find it. So, um, I'm just not understanding. So, what I was trying to do is see if I could, uh, since this person, Carlos, is more interested in his parents, it appears. Just maybe he might have records for, someone in 1920. What happened? Okay, Mozart. All right, we going outside. Let me see. Let's go to the stairs. All right, I'm just gonna give my eyes a rest while I go to let Mr. Mozart out. Peace and love out there. I'm actually planning on laying down again for a little bit. This is my off day, and then I have an appointment at 9, so I won't be laying down for long. Peace and love, y'all. Anybody want to join me on the panel? I wouldn't mind having someone up if anybody is interested. I I started out my stream this morning saying who's African American, and I was kind of speaking on the fact that uh, I try to kind of keep a an environment that is conducive for children or young people to be able to come and learn, at least like, maybe about genealogy, how, what it's like to be interested in who you are from that perspective, using language that is appropriate so that they don't repeat it or have that same energy when they go back into environments that they are criticized for or critically injured because of they behavior, because if a child is cursing in school, then they probably getting in trouble in school. So if they hear us cussing and fussing, then that very well could be the conduct they go exhibit. So I'm trying to exhibit better behavior than to just you know talk how I feel. And um so the majority of the issue that come up when you doing genealogy, if you're trying to kind of figure out more about who you are in terms of where you come from, because most people, if they taking a DNA test, they want to know where they come from, not who their family is so much, but where does the DNA lead to in terms of a place. But they don't stop and look at the people that the DNA lead to, trying to figure out what places they go to. They assume that they already know, or they assume that wherever those people lead to, that's only after they came from Africa. So they may figure, well, 5 or 6 generations. If my DNA can link me to people 5 or 6 generations, 2 or 3 generations, whatever, um, that the people that it will link me to, they're here. And those people, where did they come from? Because they must have come from Africa, because that's what they learned in school. This is the majority of people. And if it's not, that's a conversation that I would love to have. I've opened up my panel. I've had this discussion. Go ahead if you want to go outside. Had this discussion with myself many times. Uh, I'm open for a discussion. I would like to be able to have a discussion about people interested in these theories. But not a discussion that's going to turn into disrespectful, how you say, not if it will become a conversation where people are being criticizing each other in a disrespectful way. So that's what I'm saying. So the question still stands: who's an African American? Who is African American? And if you are African American, I would love to talk about it. I would love to know more about you and how you figured that, and if in fact you are on to something. But that is not my theory. And um, although I am a enthusiast in terms of genealogy, it's something that I love to do, and that is the area that I can share and help. That's the place where I can help. I am very interested in history and what happened, the real historical events that happened that have people confused about who they are. So, we already know, at least I do, and I'm definitely, my children know better, and my grandchildren know better than to take the history that's on hand and as factual about who they are. And so I use the genealogy, including DNA, to try to see how far I can get back to places here in America. If I can get to a place in Africa, sure, bring it on. But I have not been able to do that. I have not been able to do that. And so if someone could wants to talk about that's cool. And it's not even really like, debate. It's just, I really am like curious as to how an intelligent person might say they could believe that. Like what person uh, who has good common sense believes history that was taught to them in the school system that is managed by and controlled by the very same people who taught us that we were here from another country and gave us the whole um, scenario of the horrors that came along with that. There is just no reason. It's just no reason to trust them. Why would you trust them? I don't even know why people are still in school. I mean, I don't even understand like why people haven't instituted school in homes and created networks for education and trade, education and trade from another perspective. But meanwhile, I'm trying to find my folk in 1920 in this particular case. Where they are, I cannot even begin to. It's just unbelievable to me that I cannot find them. So let's see who's around them. Maybe somebody else I can get to 1920. So they are in beat 4, which is where other parts of my family is. So what about Mr. Franklin? He got a real big family. He been married 22 years. Let's see. He's got nice house full. No related suggested records over here. So that don't that oh, maybe I'm not selecting him. Let me have a better disposition. Let's see. Mr. Henry Franklin, 1920. Are you? Is he all the way in Louisiana? Everybody went somewhere about 1920? Really? Or is this another Henry Franklin in Louisiana? 1910 in Quitman. He is a traveling man, I say. His father's from Georgia, his mother's from Louisiana. So, it's not the. Oh, he went all the way from there to Oklahoma. Okay, well, so, that didn't help. Did not help. Going back to the view. Let's see. Here's Marshall, Robert Marshall. Where are you in 1920, Mr. Marshall? Okay, beat 3. Okay, so maybe some other people went with him to beat 3. Let's see, did some other people go? So undoubtedly, I'm going to have to scroll through beat 3 and beat 4 equipment, just looking to see if people are mixed into homes, if the last name of people are spelled real crazy, um, to see if I can find them. So if I don't have any feedback, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to bid you all a beautiful day, and I am going to end the broadcast. I'll give a few minutes. Is there anyone here that might be interested in coming on the panel? Want to have any conversation? Have a say about something that I'm talking about here? You ready to come back in? Come on. Okay. Well, then I am going to go ahead and end the broadcast. Peace and love. Y'all have a beautiful day. Let's just keep moving forward.